Hello everybody, my name's Colin McCrazy. Welcome back to CMC's Inbox. This is where I answer your questions that you leave in the Google form. I'll have it down in the description below. It's on all my videos, but um, you know, you could go check it out down there. And I have a very serious question for this one this week, and I would like to just get right into it. So it goes as follows. How do you get over a death of a loved one? The more the days go by, the guilt and regret of me not spending enough time with that person piles up. I just want to let it go, but at the same time, I can't. I'm stuck. So this is very common. I think just to be a little reassuring, everyone has their own griefs. Everyone has their own unique grief, and everyone grieves differently. So you're not alone with being in this grief period, and it's very normal that you are wanting to spend more time with this person that's already passed. I understand that completely. I've had some of my own griefs that I will share a little later on, but I just want to give some reassuring thoughts, and hopefully this can help you out in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, everyone has their own griefs. Everyone is unique to their own griefs depending on who passed. You know, it could even be like an animal in your family. I know a lot of people have pets, and pets are everything. Pets are family too, and um, people obviously are really important to our lives and how they relate to us. But depends on who died and what situation they died in. Some people just pass by old age, and I feel like those are definitely still hard. Not gonna lie, they're still hard to grasp, but they're also a little more natural, I would say. Something like a suicide is very more serious, in my opinion. It's more shocking, I guess, and abrupt in a way. But I feel like they're all abrupt. It just depends on the situation. But know that your grief can be very similar to others in many different ways, and people can relate to it. So you're not alone in grieving, but your grief is unique to you in your own way. Of course, I've had my own griefs, and I would love to be open about them, so I'm going to talk about them in a minute. But the most important thing I've found throughout three very important deaths in my life that I've endured is that you got to hold on to the memories of those people. Whether you like it or not, whether it's keeping you stuck, I guess, quote unquote, or you might think you're stuck just living in the past. It's always good to remember those people. I don't think that's a thing you should be ashamed about. You got to cherish their stories and share them with others. You know, it could be something funny. I have plenty of people that have passed, you know, in my life that are funny to me. I've had jokes. The three I want to mention in this video, they're definitely funny people, and I love to talk about stories like that, and it brings them back up in such a light way and like a positive way that is beneficial both to you as a person to move through your grief, but also to share something with someone else that could benefit from it. You'd be surprised what people can take away from those types of stories. But it's also important to take away lessons they've taught you that you can apply to yourself and others. I've definitely learned some huge lessons from these people that have passed in my life, and that's why they've been so important to me. And it's a form of growth that you never really thought was possible. You would be surprised how much you really grow when you go through a death, whether it's through the family, maybe a friend, or other words, whatever it could be, a pet again. You'd be surprised how much you grow from it. You really become a different person after that point, and I feel like more times than not, you become a better person. Just because a lot of the things they taught you are more apparent in your mind, and you take those things with you and teach them to others. And I like to do that for myself as well. I think that's a really great way of looking at it. So I'd like to share to you some of my growths that I've learned from the people who've passed that were near and dear to me. And the first one is I had a friend in middle school. He was super smart guy. I talked about this guy in a video on my other channel before in greater detail, but pretty much a big nerd. But he was really funny. He was really kind. This guy had more friends than not. Like, he would make friends with everybody. And I didn't talk to him as much in high school. We kind of like just didn't really we kind of fizzled out, I guess, a little bit in a way where we just weren't, you know, talking every day, or we didn't really see each other a lot. I wasn't in any of his classes throughout high school, but after high school, he had gotten into a car wreck and had passed away, and it was a major shock to not just me, but pretty much everybody in my town that knew him. which was a lot. I went to his funeral, and there were probably over 500 people there, and I've never been to a funeral that big. That was insane. And this kid was like 21, I think, at the time, so it was pretty major. And the lessons I've learned from that guy were just being kind to everybody that you meet. At least at the very beginning, like your initial meetup with someone, just give the person the benefit of the doubt and be kind. You know, not everybody deserves your kindness, of course. I've learned that as well. Not from him, but give people the benefit of the doubt when you first meet them, and be a kind person. Try to be a good Samaritan to others, and that's like a really big lesson I've learned from him. My second death that I went through was actually in the same year. It's a pretty tough year, and that was during Christmas. I had my grandfather pass. He was pretty much the glue to a lot of our family, keeping us all together. A lot of my cousins. I don't have like such a big family. I only have maybe like 25 plus members, or maybe a little less total in my family. So we're not a huge family, but he was kind of the rock between, especially my mom and her sisters and my uncle. So he was very big in what we did as a family. And the lesson I've learned from him overall is how to listen to people, how to take the time to give someone your attention when they're talking about something, whether it's something light or something heavy. It doesn't matter what it is. In a conversation, when you're with someone that you're maybe doing something with, you're traveling, maybe having a lunch or something, it doesn't matter what it is, to give them time to talk and listen actively. I also made a video about this, and it's very important to actively listen to others, so you show that you're, giving them attention and understanding the things that they're talking about. I feel like nowadays, especially with how much people are glued to their phone, they don't really do that anymore, and it's pretty awkward and I would say embarrassing for the most part to not pay attention to someone that is talking to you. So it's a way it's a thing that I've learned to actively listen to people and be respectful of things that they say. So that's a big lesson I've learned from my grandpa. And then lastly, was more recent, about a year and a half ago. I had my great aunt. She was like my mom's aunt, so I call her my great aunt. Passed away, and she was a lot to my intermediate family, so me and my parents mainly, and I guess my brothers as well. Um, she was the whole reason we moved to the city that I grew up in, and that we still live in now. I guess I technically am out of town, but they still live there, and she taught me to always remember where I come from, remember my roots, remember who I am as like a person, and try not to deviate from that in a way. I've learned just that it's always important to have like some self-identity and know the person you are and where you come from. And that's super important. That's big in self-identity. And some people like that. I have a cousin that lacks that a little bit, and she struggles to figure out who she is as a person. I feel like that lesson has stuck with me pretty well, and I know who I am. And I hope some of those lessons kind of help you figure out what you need from your grief and the growth that you can get from that. And I appreciate you putting in this message. Thank you for asking this question. And if you would like to send your own, the inbox is down below yet again. And thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.